the New England Patriots. But right now, SGA had another masterful game, and this time he won. Thunder cruised to a 16-point victory. It's a historic start for the MVP, who now has the record for the most points through games 1 and 2 in a finals debut. 1 more than Iverson, 3 more than Jordan, 4 more than Joker and KD. So is SGA proving?
It's a sweet list.
It's great.
Iverson had 48 in his first game and then cooled off, obviously.
And they beat the Lakers.
Right. The only loss.
He cooled off by scoring
23.
Yeah, then he had 35, 35, and 37.
No, I know, but I just knew he had 23 because he's.
You did the math.
Yeah.
SGA proving he's the best.
Best in the world?
I didn't know the question, to be honest with you.
Well, it
I
says
think in the world, or universe.
Best
Let's do
player
universe.
in the world. He's proving he deserves to be in that conversation. And he can fit. No,
He's better.
I don't think he's been in the conversation going into this season. He was not in the conversation. I don't think for best player in the world.
I don't think
it
he was
Giannis and Jokic, and then maybe Luka.
Yes.
And that was, Shai was an MVP candidate.
So now he's
and all
in the
that.
conversation.
Now he has moved himself where I still do not feel like he is the best player in the world. I feel like it's Jokic because of the rebounding and the assist and not so much the size, but maybe that's a part of it. But I feel like Jokic is better. But if they win this series and somebody wants to argue, no, SGA is the best player in the world, they got an argument. Like a year ago, they would have been shouted down. No, they have an argument.
That's exactly right.
And I will say this, and this, I don't know if this gets to our bad conversation we just had, and I've implied it before. If he had the high-flying, spectacular game of Ja Morant or Anthony Edwards, this might not be if they won it, I think people would be saying he's the best player in the world.
Yeah.
I think if Anthony Edwards had led Minnesota to the championship
and had won MVP this year,
that he's the best player in the world. Even if he didn't win MVP, if they beat OKC, he led them to victory over Indiana. He is the Finals MVP.
Yeah, you have a claim.
I think a lot of people, just because of all the things that he brings, so that's a part of the argument. But I feel like it's Jokic.
So listen, I agree with nearly everything Bruce said. But where and I've said this before, and people, I don't think like when I say this, but I don't think all opinions are valid. Like, you're like, oh, it's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. I'm like, actually, no, you're not. Like, as it turns out,
not
no,
an
you're not.
intelligent conversation.
Right. I mean, you can have it, but keep it to yourself. Don't say it out loud. Don't pollute the airwaves with it. It was, to me, not a viable opinion going into this year to say, headed into the 2024-25 season, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best basketball player alive. I just don't think it was a viable opinion. Going into these playoffs, it was because he was pretty clear he was going to win league MVP. His team won 68 games. It was then a viable opinion, but one that I thought that I don't think many people believed. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think in a week, it's going to be very close as far as if you did a poll, 100 basketball fans, not a week from now, because right after it's probably skewed, but headed into next season, who is the best player alive? I bet the vote comes down something like 45 Joker, 35 Shai, 10 Giannis, and then 10, like 2 for Steph, you know what I mean? Or Luka will get 1 or 2, like that type. I think that's how it would go. Now, I do think this, Wilds. I do think he has proven over the last couple years he is the best scorer alive.
Yeah.
And those things, like a lot of those stats that are eye-popping for Jordan it's like times, that you made the finals and won the scoring title. And it's like,
I've got one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I pulled a specific
where Jordan has a bunch and like everyone else has
25th time someone has scored 3,000 points in an NBA season. Here's the list. McAdoo, Elgin Baylor, Harden, Kareem, Durant, Kobe, Luka, Rick Barry, Shaq, and now SGA.
Yeah.
You're like 20. I thought you said 25.
Yeah, because Jordan did it 9.
Wilt did it 5 times. Jordan did it 10 times.
10 times, yeah. So the point that I'm making is, Jordan was obviously the best player in the world for 8 years. However, we can argue about how long it was, but whatever it was, and he was also the best scorer in basketball. I have never believed, and I don't think NBA history outside of the Jordan era has showed you the best scorer is necessarily the best player in the league. The best player in the world.
Well, Wilt would have been, during his era.
I think a lot of people didn't think Wilt was the best player of his era. I think a lot of people thought it was Russell. You know what I mean? But
I think
regardless,
a lot of people thought Wilt was the best player, but Russell was the winner.
Okay, fair enough. But you understand what I'm saying? Like those at times I think got conflated, where it's like the best scorer is the best player in the league. Shai is definitely the best scorer, but he also has an argument, and I think a fair argument, that he's the best player because he is efficient. He defends his position, in my opinion, better than Jokic. Jokic defends his.
Yeah.
And it obviously leads to winning.
Right.
And so, you check all of those boxes, and he has performed now at each playoff level better and better.
And he's done it. Look, and this is an era where several of the teams have one superstar, not 2 or 3. But he has done it with the youngest team since 1977 to get here. And, guys who aren't established stars. So that's impressive. The way he'll lock it down, and I'm not saying this is going to be easier, that they're going to do it. But if he came back next year and they won it, then it would be
You are not a one-season guy.
Well, I think we're in an era. I think we're in an era where, we've had 7 different champions. And we're in an era where, like I said it last week, there's not a definitive best player in the world. There was a stretch where it was definitely LeBron. It was definitely Jordan. It was definitely Kareem. We're in one of those seasons or, times where it's not definitive. And you could make it definitive because you could do what Jokic and Giannis and none of these guys could do, which is go back-to-back in this era.
Can I say another way that I think he could do it without going back-to-back? I think that maybe some people say this is unfair or this is stupid or this is too much rings culture-y, whatever. If Joker next year has another unbelievable season and they again don't make it past round 2, I think that a lot of people will be like, okay, you know what I mean? If Shai and Jokic, right? If Shai makes, if the Thunder make round 2, like all of the last defending champions have and get clipped, but the Nuggets, hire the wrong coach or whatever it is, and they lose in round 1, I think some people are going to stop calling Joker the best player in the world, even if he stays at the level he's at. If Giannis, depending on where he goes, if he wins it or gets to the finals, then he's right back in that argument. But I guess what I'm saying is, let's say who would be the new team to win? Let's say
Minnesota.
Minnesota wins.
They get Durant.
Right, and Giannis stays in Milwaukee or wherever he goes. They don't make the finals. The Nuggets have a season similar to this one. They lose in round 1 or round 2. The Thunder lose in round 2. But Shai is in the MVP discussion again, then I think he could get it that way as well.
Game 3, Wednesday night in Indy. This is the first Game 3 for the Pacers where they haven't already been up 2-0. Here's how teams have fared going home, tied at 1 apiece. Overall, you win the series 39% of the time. In NBA Finals, about 31% of the time. Indy's odds have improved, but Vegas still doesn't believe in the Pacers. So, Brew, do you have more or less faith in Indy after 2 games? You were kind of, thinking about it.
My heart wanted Indy. Yeah. It still does. Nap time!
No, it doesn't really hit.
It doesn't get used to it.
It doesn't hit the same. I know. But anyway, I'm more confident.
In what?
I am more confident that Indiana has a better chance of winning now than I was when the series started.
Oh, okay, good.
Like,
they won a game.
They won a game. They have home court advantage. They have not played particularly well. Now, some of that's OKC, obviously, but they haven't played well. Their style, I said earlier, OKC is going to concede. They're going to try to contest as best they can, but they're going to concede the three. You're not getting in the paint. If you're going to take a shot, take the three. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, like some inordinate amount of their shots were from three when the game started, Indiana, like the first quarter or so. They are the best three-point shooting team in the league in the playoffs. They've shot 40% from three. They got a plethora of guys. They can put 5 guys out there that can hit the three, including Miles Turner. That's one where if Hartenstein or even Chet is guarding Miles Turner, his three-point shooting ability, particularly with Hartenstein, that's an advantage for them. Now, you got to hit a bunch of threes, but that's a matchup where they can take advantage of. So I just see the way they've played, the fact that they stole a game, period. Yep. They got a great coach in Rick Carlisle who might be able to come up with some stuff. That's why I feel better about them than I did.
We're back.
You want me to change?
I know I don't, but we're getting close.
I know it sounds silly because the Pacers won a game that I didn't think they would win. I thought it would be 2-0 going back to Indy, and then the Pacers would win game 3, and then they'd be down 3-1 after 4. It's kind of how I saw it going out. But I do not have more faith in them at all because I watch these games and I just say, okay, the Thunder are doing exactly what they want to do. The Thunder are dictating the terms of engagement at every step. The Thunder had what I still think is one of the wildest coaching decisions. I know you guys talked about it on Friday, and Danny was in. And
Danny liked it.
Danny liked it, and Danny was like, it worked, even though they lost, and I wanted to strangle him. But I've never seen a team that is the dominant team of a league